Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Ethan Drew, and we're going to be reacting to, as well as breaking down, Chris Stapleton's performance of his hit song Tennessee Whiskey, The Austin City Limits. Now, this is a wildly popular song. Even if you don't like country music, you've probably heard of Tennessee Whiskey, and you've probably heard of Chris Stapleton. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Ethan Drew. I'm a singer. I like to break down music, help you cultivate that understanding of music, better appreciate it at an elementary, intermediate level. And I also like to focus on interviewing singers and learning about their life and journey in music. Those are my two primary sources of content here on YouTube, but I also like to do some of my own music as well from time to time. If you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you like, drop a comment, then subscribe. Without further ado, let's see what this live performance is going to sound like. I know Chris Stapleton quite well as far as his musical ability, and I have heard many of his songs. So I know the song, I know it well. I've not yet seen this particular video of him performing, but we're about to see firsthand, and you guys are about to see my first time reaction. So without further ado, folks, let's see what this performance has in store for us. This is just before we even get into the music, folks, there is something to be said for such a bluesy style guitar riff to start off a song that is as passionate and just incredible as Tennessee Whiskey. It is such a wildly interesting song while being yet so simple. It's a bit of a paradox, really, but I have to just comment on that because it's just it is such an amazingly simple song, yet so groovy and easy to listen to. Listen to this intro one more time, just for what's the word? Just for the sake of it. We'll use that phrase. Love that lick. Love that lick. So incredible. All right, come on, Chris. Let's see what you got.
Used to spend my nights out in the barroom.
Love that twang in his voice.
Liquor was the only love I'd known.
He is such a good yodeler, man. He's got that grit.
But you rescued me from reaching for the bottom. And brought me back. Being too far gone.
Okay, so there's some really cool stuff that I'm noticing in his vocal technique here, and particularly in the songwriting, but also in the performances here. Chris is effortlessly riffing in his vocal part here. Like it is just so like he's just floating right on through the part, and this is all live. And the way I understand it, a lot of his performances of this song are usually somewhat improvised, so there's a little bit of difference to it every single time he does it. A little bit of variance. And I freaking love that. I love the fact that there is variance in a performance of a song, because it's just no performance of it is ever the same, with the exception of the studio version, of course. And I just love that. I love his ability to riff so effortlessly. It's just, and that and his dynamic flow. And what I mean by that is the way he takes volume and swells back and forth. Being like brought me back from being too far gone. Like he goes way out here, like he brings the volume much like a lot higher whenever he sings certain parts, and then he just brings it way back down whenever he sings the others. And it's got this just like, ooh, it's such an ever-changing vocal part, and it just gives it this. It's such a fresh thing to have in a song, but it's such a fresh thing to have in a live performance too, because it just gives it that feeling of being so genuine, and it just feels so real. Let's keep going.
Be it too far gone.
See how he dropped to a lower voice as far as volume there? Another simple guitar riff and lick.
You're as sweet, strawberry wine.
Let's see what he does with this
You're
riff.
as warm as a glass of brandy.
Folks, I'm not even Italian, and I love doing this right here because this is just le chef's kiss, because it's just that slightest bit of country grit in his riff part whenever he riffs down here. It was the perfect addition to an already amazing song. Is just adding a touch more grit as he riffs down. Like that's, but adding that grit in there, just it's very light. But it's another sense of genuinism. I don't think that's a word, but it's just another genuine feeling to the song, real and relatable, and it's just raw talent. This man is overflowing with musicianship. Like there's so much more to what he's doing right now than what he's leading on. He's got so much more talent inside that brain of his than he's probably letting on, of course. And even with my help, there's no way we'll ever know how much musicianship he truly has inside him. Because I might be able to help educate you a little bit on the vocal techniques, performances, and just music in general, but I can only reveal so much about how much musical talent some people have, because sometimes a performance you just can't really tell. You know that they have a lot, but you can't tell how much or to what extent, because, you know, there's some performers that are like that. They seem like they have an endless span of knowledge. It's just, and you can hear it in his voice, the way he presents himself, the way he plays his guitar, the way he approaches his vocal part and performs. It's incredible. One more thing to talk about real quick, and then we'll move on. The way I understand it, his wife sings this song with him, and the way I understand it, that is his wife right there on screen. And I really enjoy that two-part harmony that they do in the chorus. It is a nice breath of fresh air to have another voice in there with him. Obviously, we don't need it as Chris Stapleton, for crying out loud. He's got a really cool voice, but I just like having a female voice in there along with him on this chorus. It's the icing on the cake for this. I personally think, because not only does it add that second part harmony, which harmonies in the right spot are incredible musically. It's kind of nice to know that, you know, his wife is actually participating in some of his musical ventures, and that's really, really cool to know that your spouse supports you so much in your endeavors that she's willing to sing in one of your songs. Good on her. And good on him. It looks like they've got a really strong relationship. Listen to this downward riff again.
You're as warm as a glass of brandy. And honey, I stay stoned on your love.
Effortless riffing.
Look for love in all the same old places, y'all.
Oh, there's that good old there's that good old country twang that we really appreciate out of Chris here. Whew, that is a heck of a glissando there. Ooh. Oh, that is so well controlled too. That's just one of those things that male singers, whenever they hear it, they're just like, yes. It's just, when it's done properly, sounds good, and someone that is as talented as Chris is in general, there's just nothing like it. And I'm sure that the people that were in the crowd here went wild over it, and it kind of sounds like they did. But being in the same room as Chris whenever he had this moment in his performance, I'm sure was nothing short of spectacular. Let's listen to that again. And for those of you who didn't catch what this is called, like I said a couple seconds ago, it's called a glissando. A glissando is kind of where you bend a note down or up in pitch. Ah! That's what he did there. Now, ah! So he starts out on a C sharp or a C sharp D flat there, bends it down to a C roughly, and then back up to the C sharp, and then I believe he lands on an A there to really finish out that glissando, and just kind of goes off, just pops off with the next line after that. But when you bend the pitch like that, that is a glissando. And it's really cool when executed properly. But the more you do it, the more sloppy the music might sound. So use it sparingly whenever you're writing music, if you're ever going to write music. Anyway, a lot of talking, but one more thing. There is a proper large amount of grit in his voice here, almost like rock levels of grit. And it doesn't happen as often as you think in country. You got a lot more plain good closure singing with a little bit less distortion. This right here is genuine, and I love it because it just gives that extra sense of passion, and it's just, there's really not much else to describe that placement of grit. Like, yes. Musically, it works amazingly. It gives more intensity to the sound, and it's one of those things where when you're listening to it, you're just like, ooh, yes. And it kind of gives it that ooh factor, if you catch my drift. One more time. Let's hear this incredible glissando going in the second verse.
Look for love in all the same old places, y'all.
And it was also a very forward sound. Ah! And he also had a more open mouth. Ah! Now that sound is very different from ah, as you can probably tell in direct comparison, as I just sang them both. But it just furthers this country twang kind of unique sound that this vocal technique has. And it's just great. Great. You know, there's no other way to describe it other than this sound is incredibly unique. Country twang. Ah, 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 And honestly, a more wide opening in the mouth compared to a more tall opening, it just works better with that extra grit to create that twang. Incredible. Let's see what else he does here.
Found the bottom of the bottle's always dry. Yes, yes it is now. When you poured out your heart, I didn't waste it.
Ooh. Man.
'Cause there's nothing like your love to give me.
Nice.
Tennessee whiskey.
The pinnacle of blues and country, man. They just, this iconic bluesy sound is characterized by leaning on notes and stretching them a little bit, ballooning them, if you will. You know, so they do this thing where they, like, remember how I was telling you at the beginning where they swell with these notes? He was swelling up and down with the volume of the notes that he was singing. That's a common characteristic found in blues music. And when you, especially with like the more bluesy country, when you kind of mesh the two together a little bit, people tend to lean on those notes a little bit. Lean, you know, whenever they're singing, playing the guitar, bass, what have you. It's just a very common thing to see, and that's what really gives this genre, blend of genre, its true iconic feel. And it's just so incredibly unique. And when you put that unique style along with such a unique voice in the form of Chris Stapleton, you have a masterpiece without a doubt.
You're as wild as a glass of brandy. Honey, I stay stoned on your love all the time.
He's just such a, and he has clean vocals too. Okay, so I'm going to pay respect to this guitar solo in a second, but I did want to mention that you notice a lot of the grit that he sings with, he backs off of the grit and sings pretty cleanly in certain spots. And I speak about this all the time, but vocal variation, musical variation, little changes here and there in what you're doing, keep the audience on the edge of their seat. And sometimes they don't even know that they're on the edge of their seat because, simply put, the changes are so subtle, yet they're still listening. They don't know why, but they still are. Stuff like this right here. Little tiny little variations. And it's just, he can sing cleanly, he can sing with grit. This man is just such a well-controlled vocalist and well-versed vocalist, without a doubt. And let's listen to this guitar solo uninterrupted. It was so simple. Love that. Love that solo.
You're as sweet strawberry wine. You're as warm as a glass of brandy.
Glass. Ooh, that was a really nice bend there. That's not in the studio version either, as well as a lot of the other stuff. That was really, really subtle, but I love that little bend up versus going down. In the original, the note goes down in pitch. In this one, he went up a little bit with that glissando. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. One more thing I want to talk about real quick, and then we'll get ready to wrap this up. Notice how he is moving his head along with the singing and vocalizing he is doing. A lot of singers and vocalists do this. Why? I personally think it's more of a mind-voice connection kind of thing. It seems like it's, to me at least, it's mostly psychological. If you move your head, it feels more passionate. You feel like you're doing a better job. You feel like you're recording better. You feel like it sounds better. You move with the music. You move with the vocals. It just, for me personally, it feels like the placebo effect, but I think it also just really shows passion and in what you're singing and what you're doing. It doesn't, to me, scientifically make a whole lot of sense, because I don't believe it makes much difference in the way you move your head as you vocalize, but far and away and easily shows people that you're into what you're doing. And a lot of good singers will do this subconsciously, won't even realize they're doing it, haven't ever realized that they're doing it, and people have to tell them that they're doing it in order for them to realize. But I think it's something really subtle that's worth calling out, because that's another way you can pick out a passionate vocalist.
Honey, I stay strong on your love all the time. It's Tennessee.
Let's see what pitch he ended up on there. Let's see. With that glissando, he bent it up. Let's see where he landed. Tenor high C there. Pretty sure that was more like head voice, but that's still impressively high, especially for someone with such a gritty voice. At least feels like a gritty voice, right? Someone with a kind of a gritty voice like that, you wouldn't expect to sing quite as high as that at first glance. But that was a really clean glissando up to that C5, and I absolutely love the connection there.
It's Tennessee whiskey. Tennessee whiskey. Oh, Tennessee whiskey. You're right smooth. It's Tennessee whiskey.
We're getting to the end here.
Tennessee whiskey. Oh, Tennessee whiskey. Thank you all so much. You've been a wonderful audience. Good night.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, that was a heck of a performance. And I hate that I can't be at performances like this all the time, because, obviously you're only one person. You can only be at any one place at any given time. But what an extraordinary display of vocal ability and musicianship. Well, we're getting to that time in the video where it's time to wrap up, but for those of you who have stuck around this long to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed the video, you feel like I've helped you cultivate your understanding of music or this performance, I would very much appreciate a like. If you would, drop a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite part of this performance was. Make sure you subscribe with the bell turned on, so that way you never miss another upload. And if I am contributing to your appreciation for music enough that you want to support my journey here on YouTube, I would very much appreciate it if you would pay a visit to my Patreon. And the link for that is in the description. You can support me financially and you get some really good benefits, such as handwritten letters from me, a phone call once a year for the really dedicated patrons, as well as being featured at the end of every one of my videos. Guys, this is Ethan Drew. I love you. Take care of yourselves. See you soon. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching today. This video is made possible by patrons like Miss Nancy Flesher. If you are interested in getting shoutouts like this at the end of my videos, make sure you hit the link in my description to go to Patreon, where you have the ability to do so. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I love you, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.